So, so I'm gonna stay here. So, oops. Hey, Susan, can we please do a quick check, a sound check? Can you hear me? Just write in the chat box, please. No sound? You can hear. That's good. Susan, all right. Now we're getting somewhere. It's always a bit nerve-wracking setting this up because we really need to check right at the start that everyone can actually see and hear you. So I'm going to come on live now. Here we are. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar of how to get more social media shares. I've just had a sound check and it seems that everyone can hear me. That's really good. Can you see me as well? Just write in the chat. Okay. So let's continue with our webinar, because what we want to do today is really three things. Firstly, I want to just step you through exactly how to think about images, how to use images, how to source images, you know, actually how to think maybe differently about images than how you do now. So I'll present a series of slides and it will just open up some questions and some answers for you about using images. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you where to find images, free images, because, you know, that is so important, isn't it, to get free images, because images are really expensive. My God, I've spent so much money on images in the past, you know. And the third thing I want to do is to actually step you through how to put text on images. Now, you know, it's actually very easy once you know how, but I just want to step you through exactly how to do it, because, you know, it's no good just giving you information. Yeah, you need to put text on images without telling you exactly how to do it. So now I'm just going to go to my, if everything goes well, I'm going to start presenting my slides and talking about them. Okay, here we go. That's it. That didn't quite work. Let me just try that again. Start screen share. That's all good. Now it should. I see what I'm doing here. Okay, so, you know, the first question is, why should we use images in blog posts? And I'm just going to go out with this again and just check the chat and just see that you can see this slide. So just one of you just quickly write in the chat to see whether you could see that slide just now. Could you see it? Okay, so John can see it. Malena can see it. Everyone else okay? You can see it? Let me just see. Good. Thanks, Jim. That's good. Okay. So go back to my slides now that I know they work. Okay. So there are really 5 reasons you want to use images in blog posts. Okay, first of all, because it catches the eye of the reader. You know, you have to imagine people surf a lot through the web, and, you know, they'll just click from place to place to place, and they may come to your site, especially maybe if somebody's said to them, you know, oh, have a look at that, they'll go, but they won't stay if they're not caught somewhere. You know, we need to have a hook. And so there are a variety of hooks, you know, there's the title of the blog post and so on, you know, but another hook, a really good and strong hook, is the image. Let me show you. For example, here, this is on Edish Blogging. It's 33 blogging tips by spectacular bloggers. And you will see, I put an image there that's quite eye-catching, you know, with a laptop in flames. And so that immediately arrests the eye of the reader. And once they're arrested, then they tend to actually look and start reading a post, which is what we want to do. The next reason is because it gives another level of meaning and emotion to posts. Now, this is pretty subtle stuff. I'll show you what I mean here. For example, here, this is a post on Write to Done, which is called How to Write Funny. And you can see when you look at that picture, I mean, you just have to start laughing, don't you? So you start actually reading this post already in the frame of mind I want you to be in. So this is something that you have to kind of feel out, how that can work for you to get that emotional message or another take on your topic through the image. It's a very interesting thing to try out. Here's another one. This is 201 Ways to Arouse Your Creativity, one of our all-time top posts on Write to Done. And you can see that we actually use quite a raunchy little image there that also, you know, gives another spin on the word arouse. Third reason is because it makes your blog post stand out. That's right. You know, an image makes your blog post immediately more vivid. I know that there are also streams of bloggers, you know, for example, the minimalist bloggers who don't use images. And actually, I've seen through the years different kind of phases of using images and not using images. For example, you know, the minimalist movement came in after it was, you know, when I first started, let's say it was really important to use images. And then the minimalist movement came in and suddenly blog posts were without images. But minimalism is really on the way out. So I think that's just not as interesting anymore as it was. And now, of course, there's renewed interest in images. Now, I'll tell you why that is in a moment. But just let me show you an example of because it makes your blog post stand out. This, for example, is Mashable, and they use images a lot, especially on the homepage, because when you go to the homepage, you can immediately see what you might be interested in. You know, are you interested in cooking, baking, or in spooky stories, or in gambling, or games, or whatever that is with the dice? You know, you can immediately get a sense of what you might want to look at here. Or this one from Tiny Buddha, Why People Reject Us and What We Can Do About It. And here you can also see that emotional component come in, because that hand, you know, that immediately says something to us, you know, keep your distance. So that is a very interesting visual take on this post. Now, this is, for me, one of the most important reasons why I use images, because it shortens the lines of your introduction. I know it sounds weird, but hear me out. Here's an example. This is Write to Done, and I've got an image aligned right. And what you want to do, you know, you always want to align your images to the side where you don't have your sidebar. So in this case, it's on the right-hand side. And what happens if you look at those first short paragraphs is that the lines are very short. And so the shorter the line, the easier something is to read. And so when you have the image aligned like this, you make the lines very short, and it kind of makes it really easy for your readers to ease into your article. So this is a really cool tip. Remember that, you know, it's so important to shorten those lines of the first paragraph to ease people into your blog post. Because once they're in the blog post, they'll continue reading, but it's really to ease them in that is most important. And the last reason is because it makes your blog post more shareable on social media. Now, this is really important, especially these days, you know, and has come to the forefront of bloggers' focus, you know, say in the last 6 months or so, because Pinterest is so strong now, and also Facebook. People like sharing images on Facebook, but there's a but there. Because the images that get shared the most are the ones that have some kind of message on them. And so, for example, here, I've tried something different in this post on Write to Done. I was kind of experimenting with images. I always experiment because I'm interested in experimenting. It just is fun, and it gives me a lot of new information. So here, instead of aligning the image to the right, I want you to have something that's totally eye-catching. And you can see the image with the red hair, you know, that is a showstopper in a way. But I want you to make sure that people are clear about what this article is about, or that they're enticed into the article. And that's why I've put some text on, which is, does your writing stand out? And that is what you have to do if you're using images to make them shareable on social media. So here are those 5 again. It's important to use images because it catches the eye of readers, because it gives another level of meaning to posts, because it makes your post stand out, because it makes your intro paragraphs more readable, and because it makes your blog post more shareable on social media. Okay, so the question is, if you use images, should they be central or aligned left or right? Like this. That's in Copyblogger. So this is central, and it's a big picture, so you can't actually see the blog post. Or like this. This is aligned right. This is, you know, the way of shortening the lines of the introduction. And the answer is, it really depends, because it depends on what you want. Do you want to create a shareable image? Like this, for example? Or do you want to focus the reader on the first paragraphs and make the post more attractive? Like this. So, you know, you have to think carefully about how you're going to use images. And I quite like to mix and match. I mean, normally on Write It Down, you know, I have images aligned on the right-hand side, but now and then I also want to do something different. And we'll see how that works in a moment. Let me just get rid of that. Oops. I think I'm back again. Let me just find out. Okay. All right. So that was a kind of an introduction to how to think about images, because we need to know what we're doing when we're blogging, you know, not just do it, but actually have a reason why, and know how it works and what works. And the great thing is with images that you can really play with images, you know, you can really have fun and do interesting things. For example, I've done posts on, for example, on Write to Done, where I've used images with text, mostly images with text, instead of writing an article. Now that's a very interesting thing to do. And it's a fun thing to play with. Do you have any questions at this moment? So as you know, it's really about the general sense of using. What's your question, or do you have questions, or is there anything that you do that's completely different from this? So if so, just write it in the chat. And then we'll go on to having a look at where to find free images, because that's really fun. Okay. All right. So at the moment, there are no questions. So we're going to go on to the question about where to find free images. Because you can spend a hell of a lot of money on free images. If I think of the money I've spent, you know, over the years on paid images, it's quite frightening, because, you know, sometimes it costs something like, say, $5 or even $10. And you can see if you put out 2 posts a week or 1 post a week, or even if you put just, you know, 1 post a month, that kind of adds up to quite a cost. Ah, I can see. Jim, yes. Yes, that's right. The big question is where to find these awesome images. Absolutely. And the copyright on images. Yeah. PJ, that's a very important point. And this is what I want to address right now. I used to use, so when I first started, I used to use a lot of Flickr images, but that is quite complex to find ones that, you know, that don't have copyright, and it's just a bit of a mess. I don't use that anymore. What I use is a thing called Morguefile. Okay, so I'm going to go there right now. I know it's I should actually take you with me. Hang on. I'm going to share. I'm going to screen share again, and we're going to go to Morguefile. I know it sounds a bit bizarre. Hang on, how do I do that? Add screen share, and I think I'm just going to check this out just to make sure I've got it right. Oops. Okay. Just hang on with me, because I'm actually going to put that in on a different tab. I think that's better. Let's go back and see if that works. I know. We're nearly there. Where's it gone to? It hasn't quite worked yet. Let me just bring it up a new window. So on Morguefile, now let's try it again. Yes, got it. We're sorted. Start screen share. Okay, here we are. Right. Okay. So Morguefile is a very interesting place, because you can actually get paid pictures there as well, but they have a huge number of free images. It's like like a kid's playground. I don't know why they called it Morguefile. It's such a dreadful name. So here, what you need to do is you need to click on free photos. And you can see that there are top quality photos that you can use. You can just download them and use. And they are really from very good artists and eye-catching, like this one. There's just so much to use. You have black and white, you have colored, you have landscapes, people, animals, you name it, And any of these you can just click on, and then you can download. Download image, you see, there's the link. Done, sorted. And you can get them in this sizes. For example, if you click on here, you can scale to the top size, which is 749 pixels, which is, I'll just bring that across, finish. So, that size works really well. Okay. And so as you scroll down, new windows open. So it's very hard to get to the bottom of it, because it's just so much. It's just such a smorgasbord. And to find it, it's morguefile.com. So Morg, like, just one word, Morguefile. When I come back from my little journey to Morguefile, I'll write it in the chat box. So one of the things we need to think about is actually what kind of images can you use, should you use, There is a fantastic article in the masterclass, which you may have read, which is by Leo Babauta, about what kind of images to choose. And it still absolutely holds true. And it holds true because when you open magazines, that's exactly what they do, because they know what attracts readers. And the thing is, as human beings, we are hardwired to actually look at faces. And so faces, and especially the eyes, are what attracts us. So even something like this, you know, that is attractive to us because it makes us look. There's a moment when we are compelled to look. You know, the eyes are something we're compelled to look at because it gives us kind of information, emotional information, and it gives us a sense of connectedness to another human being. Having said that, other things that are also very attractive are, you know, pictures of animals, pictures of babies, and pictures of children, and so on. And the interesting thing is that when we use images to make them shareable on social media, that is, when we put text on images, then of course everything's open. We can use so much more. You know, you can, for example, let's say this sea picture, you can put text on the sea. You know, you can use landscape photos and put an interesting quote on them. I mean, everything is wide open. See here, you could put a beautiful text there. You know, it depends really what your blog is about, but there's just such an amazing amount of creativity that you can trigger, you know, through using images. And that's the thing. If you don't know what to write about, what your next blog post should write about, how about just going through here and looking at images, because that will also prompt something within you. So images are great creativity triggers. And the other way to go is to find quotes that you really like, you know, that are absolutely in the focus and topic focus of your blog. And then go here and find an image that would resonate with that, where it would look beautiful. And, you know, that is just, I think that's just awesome, because there's just so much you can do. Okay, so I'll come back for a moment. Oh, hang on. Somebody says, oh, you're only seeing the original Moog file homepage? That's really strange. Ah, let me see. Sorry, so I've been talking, you haven't been seeing anything. Okay, what about now? I'm going to just scroll down now. Maybe let's check how that is. How's that? Hang on. Sorry about that, guys. Now, are you seeing something else now? You seeing the images? Okay. Still looking at the original. I can see something now. Hang on. Anything else now? Anything new to report? It's very strange. Yes, yes, yes. People are saying yes, yes, yes. Ah, good. Scroll works. My apologies for that. Okay, so thanks for hanging in there and just hearing me rave on about something you couldn't see at all. That wasn't very good, was it? So, okay. Okay, so I'll do a slow scroll here to show you the immense variety of this. I just love this. And I've done posts, you know, with lots of images from here. You know, not just one image, but let's say 20 images, like an image post. But what I do then is I use quotes, for example, overlay these images with quotes. All of these are free. All you have to do is just click on them and then click on download, and that is it. I think that's incredible, isn't it? And look at the resolution. This 6048 times 4032, which is absolutely huge. So when you bring that down, when you dial that down, you'll just get such a fantastic resolution. I think that's just awesome. Now I'm just going to go back to see if working now. Good. I'm glad. That's a bit of a dumb thing I did before. I don't know how that happened. Okay. Yes, they're absolutely fantastic things. And what I was saying before, you know, about being inspired by images, that is also a wonderful thing. If you see an image and it inspires you to write something. For example, let's take this one here. It's of paper clips, and there's one clip standing out in blue, you know. So you could put some text on here. I mean, this is just my creativity coming forward, you know. I would put some text on here saying something like, do you know how to stand out, or do you stand out? And then write a post about standing out. That could be standing out as a human being, or standing out as a writer, or as whatever your topic is, you can use it. See what I mean by being inspired by images? So I think that's a very good way to actually find topics, is to go through here and then to let yourself be inspired. Isn't this a fantastic collection? I mean, they have 32,000 images here. Next page, you can just scroll on and on and on, and it just gets better and better. And you don't have to worry about copyright. This is all copyright free. So I think that's just an amazing thing to use. No, they don't require attribution. Yeah, let me just check. I've used them before without. Let me just check. No, attribution is not required. So you don't even have to attribute them, which is fantastic, isn't it? You know, because sometimes I get freebies. You know, for example, there's a site called bigstockphoto.com, and I've got a kind of a sponsorship deal. You know, I can use their images for free, but underneath I have to give an attribution. And actually, quite a few of their top photos are in here as well. So this is so clean. You know, you can use them without attribution. It's just no problem at all. So I think that's a fantastic find, Morgfald. I'm just going to write that in here. If I can spell it. Morgfile.com. So yeah, please go there and just bookmark that site, because I think you'll find that is just a wonderful way of working. It's just so simple, so easy. It just turns all our problems, you know, gets rid of all our problems, really. Okay. Right, I'm back again. That's good. Okay, Jim. What is your question? Let me just see. Yes, how important is the whole human face is concerned? Eyeballs, as you mentioned. I think that's very, very important. It's quite weird, you know, we're just hardwired to see eyes. I don't want to do it every time, you know, because I also want to vary a little bit what I'm doing on my blog. I don't want it to be too predictable. So sometimes I don't have that, but often I do have faces. I think that's really quite crucial, you know, to use a lot of human faces. I know it sounds kind of a bit restrictive, but it really works. You know, when I first started, I was kind of in love with beautiful photographic images of landscapes and so on, and I put them on Good Life Zen, but they didn't really work at all, you know, because yes, landscapes can be quite nice, but they don't really attract people. Except if you use an image that's not a human being, but put some text on that, makes it really attractive. And that's really going to be our next topic, is how to put, you know, how to put text onto images. I'm just going to do the same as I did before, but a bit differently. I'm going to just create a new window with the place we're going to, which is Pixlr. Okay, so let me get back here. So the next, do readers like to see the writer's face? I think they do. It's a little difficult to put in there, you know. There used to be something really good with Google Author, you know, where you can see the image of the person's face, of the writer's face, when you click on in the search engines, but they don't have that anymore. They've taken that off. You can put a little image of the writer in the bio, but I wouldn't put the image on the top, you know, as a main feature. I don't think that's really so useful. I mean, PJ, you might be very beautiful and pretty and attractive, and that's great, you know, but all the same, I think if you do use your own image, just put a very small one with your bio, and that's fine. Okay. So I think now we're ready to do the next bit. And that is to go to and see how to put that text on, because it can be just so daunting, you know, to get this right, to get the text on images and to fiddle about with that. But I found a way to do that really quickly, very easily. And I'll teach you how to do it step by step. You can then experiment on your own. You know, there are a lot of different ways to do it, and you can play with that. But I think first off, it's good to have just a simple way of doing it. And so we are now going to go to, let me write that here. PJ says not. That was, I think, in response to me saying, you know, maybe you're very beautiful and attractive, and, you know, women just lie at your feet. Okay. So here, let's go to pixlr.co. It's that one. So I'm going to go there. And, you know, if you're not quite sure what I was saying, I'm actually going to do, you know, I'm preparing a video as well with this that you can look at afterwards so that you can get all the links. So let me just try this one more time, the sharing, but this time hopefully it'll go better. Screen share, Pixlr. Yep, this time it's working. Okay, so here we are in Pixlr. All good. So it's going to go to here. And what I suggest is that you use the Pixlr on the website. So that's the web app. You can actually download Pixlr now. This is a new thing. You can download it onto your laptop. I have downloaded it, but I just can't be bothered with using it, you know, because this is a quick and dirty method, and for me that's just ideal. So go to Pixlr and choose Pixlr Express. That's the middle one, because Pixlr Editor is much more complex, and that's what you have if you download it. It's a real, you know, piece of software that you can edit pictures with. I don't need that for this. I just need something quick and dirty, because quick is important. So I'm going to launch the web app. Hang on. Yep, it's coming through now. You can see it now. So let me just get this right. Yep. lost my way slightly, but I'm going to find it in a moment. Where is it? Hang on, I'm just searching. Here it is, I think. Yeah, got it. Okay. Now, with Pixlr Express, what they've done now is that they've got some adverts on the right-hand side. I find that quite annoying, but well, I suppose if it's free, you have to kind of pay in somewhere, and here you have to pay by looking at the ads. But just disregard the ads for a moment. We're just going to go straight to the to this application and click on Browse. And this is to choose your images. If you've got a URL of an image, you can also choose the URL. So I'm here on my laptop, and okay, I'm going to choose this one. Let me just check. No. Close. I had everything so nicely set up. Okay, we're going to use this. This actually has got text on it already, but never mind. We're going to use that, and we're going to put some additional text on. So here is the image. You've brought it up. And now there are two things you want to do. You want to put a border around it, and you want to put some writing onto it. So first of all, click on borders. Now, the reason I use borders is because I really like having pictures that look crisp, that look good on the page. And I think with a border, it just looks a lot nicer. And these borders are nice because, as you will see in a moment, you can change the opacity of the border. So here, what I suggest, you can just go through those and play with them. I just use the one on the right, which is called squared, which is the simplest one. And then of all of these, I use Creamline. And the reason I do it is because the others are a bit heavy, but this one has got just a fine line around it. And what I can do with Creamline is I can check the opacity. So for example, where it says amount, if I just take that to the left, I can change the way my border looks. And what I quite like, but that may be just a personal thing, is I like it when the image bleeds through the border. I think that looks really nice. But you might like it just to have it completely opaque like this, so that it just looks like a white border, but it has a little fine black line which defines it. Okay, once you've got your border right, click on Apply. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to put some text on it. There's lots of other things you can do here as well. You can have effects, you can have stickers and so on. But I just want to keep it really, really simple so that you know how to do a simple thing. So I've clicked on Type, and now I have to choose the font. Now, that can be quite difficult because, again, there are so many different options. But just click on, let's say, a serif font. And if you click on font now, you can choose the font you like. And so I'm going to choose maybe Droid Serif. And I'm going to write my text here. I've got all caps. I don't want that. Ah, no, that is the font. Is awesome. Okay. Now we need to do some adjustments. First of all, we need to bring this more central. And as you can see, it's too big. So we're going to just make it smaller. And that you do by just by grabbing the handle and just adjusting it. Okay, so for example, I could do it like this. And if I don't like the font, I can just go and change the font. For example, I can change it to this or to this. It looks a bit creepy, doesn't it? So there are a lot of different options I have here, as you can see, you know, and each one gives a totally different look. And I can also change the color. And to change the color, I'm going to click on color. And let's say I want to use yellow, the yellow range. Let's try that, see how that works. You can see how that comes up. And I can adjust the slider and to choose exactly the color that I like to have. If it's too big, I can still adjust it. Or if my text is too long, you know, I've got, for example, I've got a quote or something like that, I can actually go to where the text is and I can just press return. And so it comes, you know, you have it in 2 lines, which is good if you have a longer bit of text. Okay, and you can have it central or both words aligned to the left or to the right. So now I need to click apply. And then all I have to do is save. And they usually give a suggestion of, you know, how big the file should be. I just leave it like that, click on save, done. Okay. So let me get back to where we are. Good. So you see that is pretty straightforward, isn't it? It's easy to do. And it's quite fun because there are just so many different things you can do with text and images. I've done complete posts on Write to Done just with images and quotes, for example, and that's really lovely. People have loved it so much. They've asked me, you know, quite a few people asked me whether they could buy those images with text from it, you know. So that, wow, we could even, you know, you could even make a digital book with images and text as inspiration for readers. So are there any questions here that you have? Looks great, easy. Yes, that's the thing. I think we need to make things really, really easy for ourselves, you know. And as I said, I've just prepared a retake of this live webinar as a video where I show all those steps again. So you can just follow along. I'll give you the link, and you can just follow along and just do it. And as you get more experience, you know, once you've done it a few times, you can then start to slowly try out other things, you know, other ways of putting the text on, you know, or other borders and other fonts and so on. But I think the most important thing for us bloggers is that it has to be easy, because if it's easy, we'll do it again, you know. But if it's complicated and takes a lot of time, well, who needs it, you know? Blogging takes so much time anyhow. You don't really want to have a strategy that takes you a lot of time. It needs to be easy, and it needs to be quick, anyhow, in my mind. So that is, in a nutshell, really what I wanted to show you today. In the video, I've also got some examples I put in of posts I've written with lots of images and text, for example, quote posts. I really liked that. That was amazing. The response of readers was quite amazing. And it's quite simple. You have a theme, a topic, and then you just have a series of quotes. And all I did was just write one line in between, you know, to guide people from from one image to the next, and each image had a quote on it, for example. It was more for inspiration. And so, yeah, that's just endless things you can do with images and quotes. But I want to say that, you see, if you have an image with text on it, the key thing is that that will get shared. That will get shared on Pinterest, and it will get shared on Facebook, because that's what people love. They love interesting words on images, and they love to share that. And so that's how you get more social media shares for your blog, is by using images that are attractive, have text, and are shareable, you know, that people really like to share on Facebook or on Pinterest. And if you have a look, you know, on Pinterest or also on Facebook, you see that a lot of people share images with text. So that's why that is really a crucial thing to do. And we've actually got an article. I don't know if you saw that in the September edition of our new Masterclass Knowledge Vault. There's a very interesting article there about using images. I think what I'll do is I'll make sure that I'll reference those in the video, you know, when I put the video up on a page for A-List Blogging. I'll make sure that I have the references there, you know, that you can click and read those relevant articles. I think the relevant articles are the one by Leo about what kind of images to choose. That's just fantastic. And the second one is how to use images, you know, for social media. The article also talks about other ways of doing it, you know, that apart from Pixlr, there are also some other ways to do that, some other places to go online to do that. But personally, I just find Pixlr so easy, and the result is great. It's just crisp, it's nice and easy. So, are there any questions at this point? Please write in the chat if you have any more questions, and I'll answer them. Yeah. So I think while you're thinking of your question, I just want to make sure you really stay motivated for your blogging. You know, it's such an amazing pathway, and I know at times it can be a little difficult. You know, you can have kind of stretches where nothing much seems to happen, but it is something that develops over time, especially if on the way we kind of learn new skills. That's the thing with blogging, that you always have to kind of keep up and with new developments. And this thing about sharing social media, using images in a new way is really something you have to know about. So it will make a huge difference to your blog if you find you know, if you do this and if you follow through. And so what I suggest is that maybe you use your next post to do this and just see what happens, you know? Because it will make your blog a lot more attractive, and your readers will love it, and you'll get more shares. And that's what we want, isn't it? We want to get shares, we want to get more traffic. All right, well, I can't see any questions at the moment. And so maybe we'll conclude. I'll make sure that you get, here we are. Okay, here's a question from Jim. Let me see. Free images can be used by anyone, right? Absolutely. So the image we choose could be repeated elsewhere, no protection. Does adding text over make it ours? Yes, well, that's a very important question. It's quite lovely. Okay, so let me just talk about this a little bit. Yes, anyone can use these images. So you might find your image somewhere else in another blog post. But of course, if you put text on it in a way that makes it uniquely yours, you know, you can't copyright it as such. I mean, I suppose in theory you might be able to, but to all extent and purposes, that makes it yours. It's unique. And could somebody use yours? Yes, they could. but of course you want them to use it because you want them to share it on social media. So in that sense, it makes it, the moment you want people to share it, it doesn't really belong to you anymore. It leads to your place, it leads to your blog, but it's a kind of a trade-off. If you use a library sourced image, can you rename it for your blog to make it more searchable? Absolutely. Yes, yeah, that's totally important to do that, because let me just give you 2 little tips here. First of all, SEO, search engine optimization. I'm very hot on that because that really gives you traffic, long-term traffic, ongoing traffic. So it's really worth doing. And so here's a secret tip. What I do is that when I download the image and I've designated it for a particular blog post, I then name it exactly how my search, my optimized term is going to be. So my keywords are going to be. So for example, if it's in a blog post for how to write better, then I'll call the image how to write better.jpg or whatever it is, So the image itself already has the name of the blog post or the keyword of the blog post. This is really important stuff. You don't ever want to name an image, like a dog and cat or whatever it is, or the name that comes through downloading it. You want to change that. That's very, very important. And the other thing I want to tell you is that, when you go to WordPress and you click on media, you want to bring that image onto your post. You need to leave the file, the URL that your WordPress comes up with. You don't want to remove that, because that URL that's automatically created by WordPress, it's important to leave that so that people can actually take that image and put it on something like Pinterest. So, okay. Right. Good. Okay, my friends, that's it for today. It was lovely to see you. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell others about it. And I do hope you're all on the Masterclass Insiders, our lovely private Facebook group. If not, let me know and I'll make sure you get in. Okay. Thank you so much. Take care. And I'll see you soon when we have our next training. And I'll also publish the video of this with some more. There's some more bits and pieces in there that you can't find in this live webinar. Okay. So take care and see you soon again. Thank you for coming. I'm glad you enjoyed it and that you found it helpful. That's really awesome. I'm really happy about that. And I'm really happy to do this for you guys. Okay. All right. So that is it. Bye-bye.